I try and avoid it as much as I can. Sometimes I just can't take it anymore, and something needs to be said. And unfortunately, I'm the only idiot that'll pipe up and say something and stir the pot. I need to get like a burner account so I can just get my name off it.
Podcast. You're listening to the Stripped Podcast by the Lacrosse Flash, talking all things life and lacrosse with Tyson Geik and Colton Clark.
Once again, welcome to the Strip Podcast. This is episode 2. Tyson Geik, Colton Clark here. I think we have to start off first and foremost by thanking all of those who tuned in to episode 1. We can't do this without you guys listening, or it feels really shitty if we do. So, I mean, that's really awesome. And we got reached out to by players, those who were involved in the game before, different analysts that may be wanting to be involved in the future. And I thought that was pretty cool. And the Lacrosse Flash and this platform as a whole is all about giving players, analysts, personalities that platform to kind of be heard and give them an opportunity that they might not have had before. And we really do want to showcase the personality in the game. So what I will say, Colt, before I give you the floor here, is that I know that there's a lot of things that we want to clean up here. We want to kind of be better, just kind of as perfectionists with the stuff that we do. But a quote that I kind of like to go by is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So with that, I'll leave it to you and your thoughts.
You almost sound like you had that pre-scripted.
I mean, you didn't see my script off to the side.
No, to touch on that, cheers to everybody who's tuned in.
This is to you.
We really appreciate it, obviously.
Drink to that,
and
man. It's bad luck.
Shit. And to the guys who have been the first adopters and come onto the podcast. That was Logan Schuss, and now we got Curtis Dickson today, which is two of the biggest names in the game to start off the podcast with. So that's helped us out with viewerships on episode 1, which is nice. Tyson touched on, we got some things that we want to work on. Tyson, what do you think from episode 1? You think that we did well, that maybe we could have done better?
Yeah, I think obviously the comfortability that comes into play, and just being a little bit more relaxed. We want the flow to be a little bit better. There's a lot of things that we listen back and we're like, shit, we didn't touch on that.
Yeah.
Right. And I have to address this too. Some people probably aren't going to like what we do on this podcast. And
no, but hate on us. We want to hear the hate. We want to see the love too.
Say? If you got haters, you've made it. But no,
no such thing as bad press or
right.
Like that.
But we want to provide a little bit of shock value and just get kind of people talking and just do something different. So if you hear us dropping the odd F-bomb on the podcast, it's going to happen. We want to do something different. I don't know if there is a lacrosse podcast that features any F-bombs anyways. We might be the first. Not
to my knowledge, but I also don't listen to very many lacrosse podcasts. So sorry to those, but thank you for listening. This isn't...
it's not your granny's podcast.
Yeah, it's not for children for sure. We're a little bit loose on the language, which is kind of...
And the stories.
An attempt to be attractive to a younger demographic, and as well, we like to touch. What would you say our demographic is, Ty? Somewhere in the anywhere from 15, 16 to, I think we could probably go as high. I know my dad would listen, but somewhere as high as 65, maybe. Like, hopefully, there's.
Yeah, we would. Lacrosse is for everyone, but we do want to showcase a bit more of an edgy side to the game that just hasn't necessarily been put on display, like I've said, because, we just haven't had the budget to do it in lacrosse, really. And now with being able to produce in our living room.
No, we're in studio. This is
this is a strip studio. We rent this out $2,000 a month in Vancouver. We make bags.
Yeah. While we're on money topic, we're on episode 2 now, and we still don't have any sponsors. That's pretty upset about that. I figured that they would have
for sponsors. Please.
Oh, sorry. Turn around then.
No free ads.
No free ads. So once again, if anybody out there would like to sponsor or get a shout out on our podcast, we're looking for sponsors.
And obviously always looking for guests. So to players, coaches, those involved in the game, swing by the Strip Studios, the Lacrosse Flash Studios, and be our next guest. But that kind of brings us to our next point. Our next guest, we've been lucky enough. Logan was fantastic. I can't thank him enough for taking the time out of his busy social media life to be here for episode 1. He was a fantastic first guest, but we followed up with a superstar.
We got him.
Superman. We wanted to get big personalities, and we've succeeded in getting, two of the best personalities to follow from a Canadian standpoint, at least in the NLL. So without further ado, here's Superman, Curtis Dickson of the Calgary Roughnecks and formerly the PLL Chaos. Is he still? No, maybe on another team?
Possibly Water Dogs coming up. Oh, wait. I don't know if they've been announced yet. You may have to cut that.
Here it is.
Dixon from the outside. Has to let it rip, and he's got his first goal of the season.
Curtis Dickson to the net, shoots and scores. Bomb from the outside from Dixon. Career goal number 400.
You want to start us off, Colt?
I will start us off. Okay. On today's episode of the Strip Podcast, we got Curtis Dickson, also known as Superman. Curtis was a 2-time NCAA All-American at the University of Delaware, a Thornton Trophy finalist, drafted number 3 overall to the Calgary Roughnecks, was named the league's Rookie of the Year 2011. He is a world champion in field lacrosse with Team Canada and also a world champion in box lacrosse, a 10-year NLL vet, plays in the WLA, NLL, soon to be PLL. One of the most exciting players in the game. Welcome, Curtis Dickson.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me.
All right. That resume, makes Logan Schuss look like, I don't know. But no, it's great to have you, Curtis. Since I got on board with the NLL, especially, I've been watching you for years, but definitely one of the most exciting guys to watch, game in and game out, and now an NLL champion. Maybe let's start there. What was that like?
That was the big one to check off the bucket list. That was pretty exciting. Obviously, it had been 10 years since Calgary had won one, and they won it 2 years before I got there, and came close in 2014, lost in heartbreaking fashion against Roch there. So just the way we did it too, how we kind of snuck in the playoffs, just got hot at the right time, got Kinger back there at the end of the year, and I think reeled off seven wins in a row to end the season and win the championship. So it was pretty special.
One of the guys, we talked to Logan Schuss. Logan works a day job most of the time. You're one of the fortunate guys who currently doesn't have to do that and is making a living off playing lacrosse. So what does your weeks usually look like?
Usually just working out, getting to the gym, trying to keep myself in shape, playing some video games.
Playing some video games.
So
what video games you?
New Call of Duty just came out, so I've been dabbling in that quite a bit.
PlayStation or Xbox guy?
PlayStation.
Yeah, smart choice.
Thank you.
Right there.
What about what do you do for food, nutrition?
Food. You know what? I got a wonderful girlfriend at home.
What does Superman eat for food?
A wonderful girlfriend at home that cooks dinner basically every night. So she's magical in the kitchen. She does it all, whether it's chicken. She's got the slow cooker out. She works from home, so she's home a lot of the time. So she's got a lot of time in the kitchen to prep me meals and make wonderful dishes for me. So it's all pretty much homemade food.
Oh, shout out to Lois Lane.
Let's go to the Superman thing. When did that all get started? Like, who maybe gave you that nickname, and then how did it get rolling? Because now when your name is brought up, it's just Curtis Dickson Superman, right?
It was one of our announcers my very first year in the league.
Yep.
Jeremy Ballantyne's his name, and I guess I just diving all over the place, going through the crease, he kind of just came up with a nickname, and it's stuck ever since.
You see yourself as you get, you're not young. You're a couple years older than me, I think.
Thank you.
You see yourself doing you see yourself doing that later into your years of playing. Like I'm seeing now with the league expanding the way it is, a guy like you, top of the league, can probably stick it out much into his 40s would be my guess, provided that you're injury free kind of thing. Do you see
is that something you want to do? You want to play into your 40s?
I can't see that happening. That's another 10 years away.
Yeah.
And, it definitely takes a toll on you. And, aside from the turf burn, the whole diving thing, actually, I shouldn't say that. Last game, dove through, Mitch Jones landed on me and dislocated my kneecap. kneecap was over on the side of my knee, which isn't good. But I've been fortunate, actually.
Fuck you, Mitch Jones.
Yeah, Mitch Jones. Thank you for that, Mitch, if you're listening to this. But I got fortunate. It wasn't too serious, and I've been rehabbing, and I'll be fine for next weekend. So, but I've been fortunate enough, knock on this wood here, that I've been fairly injury-free for the most part in my 28 years of playing lacrosse. So I've always said I'm going to go as long as I can, as long as my body allows me to. So who knows, going later into my mid and late 30s, I might have to change my style of play, but that's a bridge I'll cross when I get there. So
Cole brought up the whole expansion topic, and you see a lot more teams coming in the league, and Commissioner Nick Sakevich talking about, having new markets come in, and they're coming fast and furious. What do you think about that expansion, and do you think there is enough talent out there to, house professional, to get professional teams into, right?
Yeah, Nick's done a good job with the expansion. I know in years past before he was there, they were just kind of handing out franchises like they were candy on Halloween, and teams were sticking around for a year or two and then folding. Yeah. But he's done a good job of doing his research and making sure the market works, and the building and the fan base is there. So so far so good. As for if there's enough talent, it's something that'll be seen. I don't know if the teams, the new teams this year have struggled so far. Albeit it's only one game into the season, but it's one of those things. Teams got to gel, and through drafts and trades and whatever else, they'll build their teams up. But they'll struggle. San Diego was kind of an anomaly last year with the success they had. They did well, and obviously expansion, the draft, and everything else. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. So far, like I said, they've struggled a bit, but there's lots of talent to go around. So it'll be interesting to see, especially with the U.S. box lacrosse program now with those guys. You're going to see a lot more American kids coming up playing box and haven't played for their whole childhood. So it'll be a lot more talent coming out of there for sure too.
It seems like more so there's going to be a bit of a goalie deficit because goaltenders just aren't being developed at that rate and at that level.
Yeah, that's true too, and you're seeing that now. But at the same time, like I said, it's with it picking up the way it is in the States. The sky's the limit for box, and it's pretty cool to see those U.S. box teams come to Canada and play in those tournaments and compete against the Canadian guys. So the future is bright for sure.
You're a guy you're pretty vocal. We can always count on you for some good tweets and maybe sound bites. But if you're to sit back and look at the NLL, and maybe you're in the commissioner's chair for a little bit, what do you want to see happen?
What?
And just be honest. Be Twitter critics.
Yeah, Twitter. Well, to be honest,
we'll cut out anything that you have
to go. Seeing where it's come from in the last 10 years, even from when I started in the league to where it is now, it's night and day, and it's come a long way. And like I said, Nick is doing a good job of bringing teams in and running it the right way. And obviously, everybody wants to see the NLL on TV, but it's baby steps, and that's something that needs to be done to get to more viewers and get more eyeballs on the sport. And I'm sure he's got a plan, but for now the people don't love having to pay the subscription for the online, so that's probably the one thing I'd say. But at the same time, I think they announced today something about Game of the Week on YouTube that they're doing. Yeah,
Facebook and Twitter are going to have Twitter, a Game of the Week now for free for fans. So
yeah, so that's big. That's, again, people...
eyes.
Some people don't want to pay, so they did the first 2 weeks here for free on BR Live as well. So that's probably the one big thing I think that needs to happen, probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I don't know, my concern is with the Facebook and Twitter thing, you got some people that are scrolling on their phone that are going to watch a little bit, but are you really consuming an entire game of a market that you're not that interested in and invested in? You kind of want to see your home team play. You're not just like, oh, hey, bonus game of the week, and then sitting down and consuming the whole thing.
Yeah, that's exactly. If it's not on TV where you can sit there and watch it, I don't know if you're going to sit there on your phone and just be just a random.
Bar, right?
Exactly. So, like I said, it's baby steps. It's a step in the right direction, but the ultimate goal at the end of the day, obviously, is to get lacrosse on TV. So, we'll see where the future takes us.
What makes Superman? We were talking back to your game day preparation. What do you eat like on a game? I would imagine it's probably somewhat like I do. I usually eat pretty well the same thing, but My guess is you probably do a little bit better than me if nutrition has anything to do with it.
No, it's pretty standard. It all depends. I mean, home games, we do shoot around in the morning at the Saddle Dome, and then they feed us at the rink, and they got a lunch spread for us upstairs. So whether it's chicken and pasta or stir fry, whatever it is, fairly healthy. That's kind of the go-to. And then I don't eat much before a game, so I usually eat around noon, 1 o'clock, and then maybe snack on an apple or banana or something at the game before.
So you're not vegan then, is what you're saying?
Sorry?
You're not vegan then?
No, not vegan.
Not in Calgary either.
No, exactly. Home of the grade A beef. and then on the road, it all varies. Usually we'll go find a lunch spot, whether it's Earl's or anywhere like that, quick and easy. Nothing too crazy.
Let's talk about that. The road. What's your favorite spot to go and play? I mean, San Diego would probably be a first now that they've come into the league, but is there a market that you really like to go and maybe that has a bit better of a nightlife that you like to take advantage of? Yeah,
I love Denver. Denver's an awesome city. It's a lot of fun, a lot of good bars, and I'm excited. We don't get a chance to go to Long Island. Obviously, that would be a pretty cool spot to go out in New York, but Denver's good. Obviously, San Diego. We kind of got screwed last year when we played there on a back-to-back in the season, so we had to fly out the next morning
we
and
got
play
screwed there.
in terms of getting to go out and enjoy it. But Denver, obviously, like I said, always good. Calgary too. Calgary's probably one of the better cities. A lot of the guys.
Still Cowboys.
Cowboys. I'm getting much too old for Cowboys. We still get dragged there sometimes, but definitely makes me feel like I'm 31. But I mean, you can't really go wrong anywhere. You know what? Saskatoon, actually, Sask is awesome. That city is wild.
It's a lot of fun. It's like you're going back into the 1980s. But I had a good time there in the two finals I hate that place. Got to go to.
I mean, you're like a celebrity. Everybody knows the lacrosse teams. Even if you're on the opposing team, people come up and talk to me and recognize me. So it's a pretty cool atmosphere. Especially obviously playing in the arena. Sold out crowd, how passionate they are, and then even afterwards outside of the arena, it's a really cool spot to play.
I think Nick's done a good job at putting them in cool markets at least. I would have said like Vancouver when they were the Stealth might have been kind of one of the crappier spots to go to because you're outside, you're playing in like a small arena.
Well, we talked about that with Logan. We didn't even go to games when we lived in Vancouver because at one point there was a bridge toll to get to the games, and you're paying 2 bridge tolls to go to watch this game. And then they weren't that good. There was blue seat night
going out in Langley
every night.
Every night. So
going out
in Langley at the Shark Club.
Well, last 2 weeks ago when we played in Van, they put us up in a hotel in Burnaby. Playing some night games with us.
No.
Oh, no.
Trying to get in our heads. Well, meanwhile, their team got to stay downtown next to the rinks, so that was fun getting to drive in and out for shoot around.
See, that's the dirt that we want right there
during rush hour traffic. So that was a lot of fun. So, but it's just one of those things that you got to overcome.
Yeah.
Use it as fuel, and we did, obviously.
Quickly, while we're still close to the topic of nutrition. Tyson and I have both jumped on the trend of intermittent fasting. Logan Schuss does something called intermediate fasting. He shared with us last week. How about you?
I said, I eat what my girlfriend puts in front of me. I'm not huge on
time restricting.
Exactly. Okay. I'm not huge on, counting calories or anything. I work out and play enough I burn enough calories to figure it out, so there's nothing too strict about my diet or my workout regimen.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I roll in the summer. You're burning so many calories that you don't really give a shit. You can soak as many pints or eat as much
try to keep it honest
as you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you try to keep it honest during the week, I suppose.
We did kind of jump over this topic, but Westberg kind of holding out last season. And we were talking about winning a championship. That was the biggest thing for you to cross off your list. He kind of misses out on that opportunity. I'm sure you've spoken with him, but how do you think he's feeling about that? And is that something that's going to be easy to get over?
I haven't really talked to him directly about that. I'm sure he's obviously disappointed that he wasn't able to be a part of it. But, he did what he felt was best for his career. And I stood next to Wes. I was there with him for the first 4 games. I was, holding out with him, and I stand by him, and he's happy where he is now, and he's going to thrive in San Diego. He's obviously a phenomenal young player, and he's going to have a good and long career in the NLL, and but like I said, he's stuck to his guns and did what he felt was right, and I had his back, and that's why I re-signed. He basically told the Roughnecks that if they weren't going to be able to meet him in the middle and get him what he needed, then he was basically demanding a trade. So that kind of opened up the window for me to sign last year. So I can kind of thank him for handing me a championship, getting me that ring. So, but obviously it's like I said, it'll be a bit of a sour taste in his mouth, but he's going to have a lot of years ahead of him to win himself one. So he's going to try and forget about it pretty quickly.
If we're talking about voids on that Calgary Roughnecks roster, we got to kind of mention Dane Dobie. He's going to miss 6 games. We won't get into the cause of the suspension, but how do you fill that void, and how do you keep your team kind of in the running without a player like that, former MVP?
Yeah, it's one of those kind of next man up situations. Obviously, those are somewhat, if not impossible, shoes to fill. Coming off the best year of his career, and one of the best years in the history of the league, winning playoff MVP, season MVP, leading the league in points. So, but we got a lot of young talent on our team. We got Ryan Martell, who's looking to step into a bigger role this year. Had a good summer in junior last year, and he's a really good player. And we got Kanger back. He's there for the whole season now. He's injury free and he's looking really good. And a veteran guy like Dan Taylor, he's been there for a few years now. Again, another guy that's looking to step into a bigger role. And Marshall King, who played well his first weekend, he's going to be a good player in this league. He's going to have to pick up some slack. And we got a good young kid, Hayden Dickson. He's a junior product out of, I think, Delta. I want to say he's from. He's a Delta kid. He's only 18 years old, and he's raw, but he's got a heck of a lot of skill, and he's going to be a really good player in this league for a lot of years. So whether it's him stepping in or whatever the plan is, Dobes was able to carry the load last year when me and Kinger were out for, Kinger was obviously out for longer than me, but first 4 games of the season, Dobes was carrying a lot of that weight on his shoulders for the start of last year. So that's, that's slack that we're going to have to pick up this year and put the team on our back. And obviously we can rely on, Christian and the defense. They're super talented, and, that we can always lean on those guys to make stops and give us that extra confidence we need in those games.
You're obviously, for most of the games, I'd say you're probably drawing the best defenseman on each team. Throughout the league, you see a different guy. Every team's kind of got their guy, but is there one that stands out to you throughout?
Oh, I think I know who he's going to say.
Every single team. I mean, you may have alluded to it a little bit on Twitter, but we were reading through that. But
yeah, it's got to be Graham Osick. He's an animal. We played him in Victoria in the WLA finals this past summer, and he pretty much single-handedly eliminated us from that final series. He was incredible. The last
our team too,
game 5.
Isn't he the reason why you were kept quiet too in that first round? Yeah.
Game 5, the elimination game, he scored 4 goals, including the winning goal in overtime. And I mean, everybody knows what he can do on the defensive end of the floor. He's a freak. He's an animal. And like I said on Twitter, in my eyes, he's the best lacrosse player in the world. And it's really not that close. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's strong as an ox, and he's got the hands and the skill set to go up and play on the front end if he needs to. He's from another planet, that guy.
He literally looks like it. He looks like Terminator.
He's a cyborg. It's a running joke. So it was actually really, really nice getting to play with him with Team Canada for a couple of weeks there, and being on his team for once and getting to pick his brain a bit. But he's just knowing, you talk about diets and workout regimens. That guy, like you said, he's a robot. He's a machine. It's pretty crazy that the way he takes care of his body.
Yeah, he's got that Adam Jones dump, where he wraps his stick around you. He got me a couple times this summer, but his is like a different version. He almost like steps up behind your foot, so you have nowhere to go when you go to take your first step.
The first time I played him, I think it was in Roch, and I got a step on him, and I was like, oh, I got him. I beat this guy. I'm getting over top. I'm about to go down the gut, and he basically just like picked me up with his stick.
I saw a video of him doing that.
Right? I think I know what you're talking about.
And just like placed me back over at the half boards and like, here you go. You're not going to the net. And
didn't you go down and score on that one?
It's entirely possible. This wasn't last year. This was
a couple years ago.
Yeah. It might have happened. Yeah. I don't know, but he's on another planet. That guy is so good at what he does and everything else too. So he's a do-it-all guy.
Let's go back to the WLA. You've won a title in just a man cup, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on
the worst barn in the league? The worst barn in the WLA.
Not just WLA, but I mean overall, and just like
the league,
Canadian lacrosse, and how teams kind of they buy championships.
It is what it is, and for guys, I don't know if it's ever going to change, because I don't think every team's ever going to be able to pay their players and pay them well enough to compete. So, and I mean, guys such as myself, I just can't.
You can't turn it down.
I can't turn it down, but at the same time, if they stop paying, I just can't
keep doing it
because it's not worth it for me to risk injury and get beat up and play 4 months out of the year getting the shit kicked out of me for nothing. So it's like I said, it is what it is, and the same teams are going to basically be competing every single year, and it's unfortunate, because I know, like, my dad played, he won Man Cup with New West back in the 80s, and hearing about how it used to be, and the old guys talking about the old days, and it's too bad that it's kind of gone away from that. And obviously with the emergence of the NLL and professional lacrosse, it's kind of taken a back seat. So I don't know what the future holds for it, but it's, like I said, it's a little depressing just hearing those stories and how much it meant to those guys playing for their cities and whatever else. But
it seems like it's something where you've got to respect the history of it, and I certainly do. And I'm not here shitting on the players who are going to choose to, get picked up by a Peterborough and then go on a championship run. If you have the opportunity to do it, you're going to do it. But it's just, from a fan's perspective and someone in the business side, it kind of looks like a joke, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, there's certain fan bases that basically go into a season knowing you have no chance. You don't have a chance of winning a championship, and it's unfortunate. And but like you said, it's gives guys, higher end guys opportunities to go places and compete and try and win that Man Cup. But at the same time, you're seeing, it's getting a little bit, the teams are starting to be a little bit more competitive. Yeah. It's not as dominant as it one or two team dominant as it used to be, at least in the West as well. You see with the import rule, different teams are starting to emerge and be contenders. So, but for the foreseeable future, I think you're going to see a lot of, Peterborough and Six Nations Man Cups.
Yeah.
Victoria
mix in there. But that's, like I said, with that, with the import rule, that was because when they beat us, when that was my first summer in Peterborough, 2015, when we lost in Victoria, I think they had something like 15 imports on their team. So
it's almost like they need to get together and just figure something out where it's collective, right? The choices that are made need to be across the board, not just in one league, because there is that imbalance between the WLA and major series.
Well, I think the big thing, with the West this year, they implemented that rental rule, which will help, because teams can start working with each other and renting players for a season and going back for other teams. Actually, it's funny I say that, because we got Dobie from Langley last year, and I actually head back to Langley for 2 years. Okay. So I'm playing for the Thunder for the next 2 summers.
You're then an ammo, I'm going to Langley.
Yeah, so I go
trade me.
I go from the worst bar in the league to the nicest bar in the league. But so I think that'll help the West in terms of being able to get more
just competitive
talent and more competitive to the top teams and be able to compete with the East. But like you saw with us in Maple Ridge this year, we stacked our offense and shit the bed in the playoffs. So it doesn't always work that way, but it's a step in the right direction anyways.
Seemed like you guys went a little bit light on the D. No slouch to your D, but like
we had Frankie and Christian and net, and we had solid D guys. A lot of those guys play in the NLL. A lot of those guys are Vancouver guys. It's just we stunk. Our offense stunk.
Yeah.
Just flat out stunk, myself included. All of us, we'll all tell you that none of us, and we missed Benny Mac. Benny Mac was playing PLL. Yeah. He was gone for a majority of the games. We had him for one game in the Victoria series, and that's the one that we won, and he scored like 6 goals. So obviously miss a guy like that, but at the same time, we should have been better than we were, and hats off to Victoria. Like I said, they were good. They had a good defense, and Pete Dubinsky came out of nowhere. He was lights out last summer. That was the story of the summer, that guy. So hats off to him, and I know he grinds and battles. He was a third goalie in Calgary for a couple of years, and he's a beauty, and nice to see him have some success.
Tough for you too. Obviously, you didn't play most of the season, then coming in the closer to the playoffs and trying to get your wheels going that late. Like usually in the past, do you find it harder your start of the beginning of the year, like to get scoring rate off the hop, or do you get better as your season goes on? And
yeah, it's tough going from the bigger nets to the smaller nets. That's for sure. NLL nets are, I think, 3 inches bigger, so every post you hit in the WLA is a goal in the NLL, and that's going through your head every single time you hit the post.
Yeah.
But it's tough. Like I got hurt in Game 2 of the championship against Buffalo, so I was out for I think about a month and a half in the summer. So it's always tough coming back from injury and being off so long. But at the same time, I'm playing lacrosse 11 months out of the year, so I relish any chance I have to, be off the floor and just take some time off and relax. So, but I mean, I can't use that as an excuse. I've been playing for a million years, and we just couldn't figure it out, couldn't get it going. We had all the talent in the world in our offense, and we just stunk.
Let's talk those trick shots that you take, because you're always coming up with something. Is that something that you practice, or is it just a bit of a Hail Mary when you're on the floor and a last-ditch effort to kind of make something happen?
I think it's a bit of both. When you're messing around in practice, you'll throw those one-handed, whatever it is, behind the backs, and when you find yourself in the game, in that situation, sometimes where you are on the floor and the angle that you're at, I don't throw a ton of regular backhands. Yeah. So it's just one of those things I don't think the goalie's expecting it, so you catch him off guard as well. So if you can, especially if you catch yourself going across the crease and you can throw it back to the short side, it's pretty tough for the goalie to kind of track and keep up with. So a lot of the time, I don't know where the ball's going. I'm just chucking it at the net and hoping it goes in. And I guarantee I've missed more than I've made, but people don't pay attention to the ones that you miss. So
yeah.
The honest truth behind the trick shots. You spent some time in college, obviously. You went to Delaware, is that right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Only for 3 years?
4.
No, you went all 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything like for me and Logan, and Tyson, we talked about like obviously adapting to life in the U.S. is a little bit different for Canadian guys coming from small towns. I come from small town. We're all small town guys, kind of thing. Anything, what stuck out to you coming off the plane, heading into Delaware? Like Logan talked about, just an overwhelming feeling of stepping into Ohio State. He was wearing like the Ladner special outfit, showing up and ripping pipes with the boys, and he's just so nervous. You got any stories like that?
It was tough, obviously, traveling, across continent, going east coast of the States, being, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 17-year-old kid, never left home before, and moving to Delaware, which people probably don't even know exists. But I was lucky. I had Jordan Hall. Jordan Hall was his senior year, was my first year. He basically recruited me himself and got me to Delaware.
The guy still looks like 29.
I know. He's
doesn't age.
So damn handsome. He basically held my hand and took me out there, and it was intimidating for sure. If you've never experienced a college lacrosse schedule, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into, practicing 4 or 5 times a week, being in the weight room, living in the dorm, which looks like a jail cell, and it's pretty intimidating, but it's it was 4 of the best years of my life. I'm sure anyone that's done it can attest to that, and it's a bit of a learning curve. And when I first got there, I was playing midfield, and I sat on the bench for the first half of my freshman year. Tackman got hurt. I got chucked down at attack. One of the coaches said, "Let's try him," and the rest is kind of history. So I saw it all and did it all, and rode the pine, and that was the first time in my life that I'd ever sat on the bench and didn't get any playing time.
And never again.
It was
first and last time.
It was frustrating, but it was it was a good learning experience to be able to do that and kind of see what that part of it's like. So
did you have coaches kind of harping on you to switch hands? Because I did watch you in the Worlds, and I noticed like you're always in your right? You never switch.
Yeah.
And I think that's what coaches are more comfortable with now in NCAA lacrosse. But back then, I remember going into Mercyhurst, and it was like switch all the time. And I'm like, this is stupid. None of us need to do this.
No, it's for sure. And when I first got there, it was I got my freshman year was 2006. So not a lot of guys had gone. Like Jordan had been at Delaware. I know Garrett Billings was at Virginia, but I mean, at that time, it was only a handful of Canadian guys that were down at school, especially from the West Coast. So
the Geiches were at Denver.
The Geiches were at Denver, that's right. But they didn't really understand, and they knew, their prototypical American player, you needed to be able to use both hands, and they didn't realize that, Canadians play with one hand, and we're really good with one hand. We don't need two hands. So, especially that's why, playing midfield. I'm not a great defensive player. I don't know if you guys know that or not. I don't thrive on the D end, and I stunk with my left hand, so it was tough for me to kind of break through. But as an attackman, I think it's easier for you to kind of get away with using one hand, dodging from in tight to the goal and from behind the net. You can use the backhand wrap around and do whatever you need to do. So that's kind of why I started to fit in more when I got moved down to attack. So it was a big learning curve, and the coaches definitely tried to harp on me, getting me to use my left hand. And when I put it in my left hand, it looked like a child picking up a lacrosse stick for the first time. It wasn't pretty, so that's a huge reason why I was sitting at the end of the bench for as long.
I was like that with both hands though.
To be able to pass is great. There's just no fucking sense really, like to a guy who's come in, you played at that point for how many years? You've been playing since you were born. To try and retrain your opposite hand to the skill level that you're at. I mean, obviously, how disgusting you'd be if you could play the same way with both hands. It'd be an absolute fucking nightmare. But
that's the thing. I don't think that's possible.
I don't think it is. Even the guys that have, like, you look at the whatever, if you want, the Schreibers, the Paul Rabels, they still have their dominant hand that they go to,
Or what? It's just more of like, what difference does it actually make?
Right.
Because you can do everything in your right that you could do with your.
You can be. I mean, those guys. You can be above average with both hands, or you can be very good with one and stink with the other. So there's ways around it, and that's kind of what you teach kids nowadays. Like you said, it's nice to be able to pass and catch with your opposite hand. But at the same time, I don't find it completely necessary.
A pretty interesting transition there too, right? Like, you go down to school and the Americans have their way of doing it. Like you said, there's not too many Canadians, and now all of a sudden it's like, play box, get into box. The American guys are all into it now, and you've got coaches like Tierney saying that it makes you a better field player, so you should get involved in this. So who do you kind of credit with that? Who would you say that are maybe a few of the guys that really like stepped up there and made that shift happen?
Like players, you mean?
Yeah, is it a player thing? Is it a coaching thing?
I think it's
a program thing.
I think it's the players, just the guys going down there and having so much success. Like I said, with my kind of age group, I know me, Crowley, Jordan McBride. I can't even think of other names, but so many guys. Handful or so guys went down and had so much success at the the college level. And even you look at the guys that the Shane Jacksons, Riley Lowens, those guys that went and played at Limestone, the success they had. Coaches kind of opened their eyes and realized you don't need your prototypical big athletic two-handed midfielder American to be successful. And a lot of the teams were finding success with these Canadian guys going down there and dominating with their one hand. So like I said, it was few and far between when I first went, and seeing how far it's come and where it is now, it's pretty incredible to see that how many guys are actually going down and getting an opportunity to play down there.
I think Bellarmine, when we went down, my recruiting class, we at one point had 27 Canadians on our team.
That was,
we may have overdone it. Jack understood that the team needed Canadians. I think he overdid it. But yeah, you're definitely right on that point.
Yeah.
This is a perfect point, I guess, to take a break. And we got a couple giveaways for Curtis for anybody who's listening. At this point, nobody's listening, but we hope to change that in the future. We got a couple Calgary Roughnecks hats for Curtis to give away.
Might get a little Sharpie out.
Yeah, he'll sign it if you want it. If you want that on your hat, for sure. Tyson might even sign it for you too.
Ooh, it's big.
In order to win the hat, just follow Curtis Dickson and the Lacrosse Flash on Twitter, and that's it. I know we saw you chirping a little bit on Twitter about the giveaways and the paying people.
Oh yeah,
paying people to. But you know what? At this point, we have 0 followers. So we have Logan. Thanks,
there you
Logan.
go. We got one, and I'll be 2 after this.
I'll show
you guys a follow.
So yeah, we
those hats could be yours.
Those hats could be yours. Calgary Roughnecks. Well, sure. 2018 draft and a 2016 draft. nostalgic. Beautiful. Tice.
Let's kick things off. I like what you said about the PLL. Let's talk a little about the PLL. You had one kind of comment about the chirping in the cameras that I found pretty funny. It stirred the pot a little bit, which you're kind of known for doing, but I found it funny. What's your take on the PLL overall, and what are your thoughts on the overall product?
I mean, you can't knock what they've been doing.
Yeah.
They've it's been first class, and the production value and the way they've been churning out their content and getting the games on TV and just getting as many eyeballs on it as possible. It's been pretty incredible to see what Paul's been able to do, and you knew it was going to be done the right way.
Right.
Paul's not dumb. He's been around the game for a long time, and he knows what he's doing. And he wasn't just going to leave the MLL and put everything else behind him just to start up some league that was just going to half-ass and it might work. So he's they've done an unbelievable job with what they've done so far, and it's a step in the right direction, especially having played in the MLL and knowing how big of a joke that league is.
You've been vocal about that one too.
It's night and day, and it's super cool to see what they've been able to do, and the legitimacy they've been able to put behind the pro field game. So it's super cool to see, and the sky's the limit for that league for sure.
You guys were talking about it a little bit before I got here. Are you planning on playing in that league?
I am, yeah. Next summer, I'll be trying out. I'll be going to camp. I know the training camp was right during our NLL finals. I'll try my best. That's all I can do. But I know they got an expansion draft coming up with a new team coming out, so I don't know what the rules behind that are, if I need to be protected or if I won't be, if I'll get picked up, if I won't be. So it's kind of up in the air. But
can you imagine not protecting Curtis Dickson on your roster?
I don't know. We got a good team with that Chaos team is loaded with talent. So I don't know what the plan is, but wherever I end up, I'm going to go play. And
what do you think about the model itself? Like these traveling kind of Harlem Globetrotter style teams with fans not able to get behind one team like their home city,
right?
Because that's the biggest thing that I struggle with. And I'm here as an advocate of the PLL. I like what they've done. They've been so smart in their branding and pumping out content and keeping fans on their toes. But that is the one thing that kind of holds me back as someone who's grown up watching things like the NHL and even the NLL growing up. I had the Toronto Rock, right?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. It's different. It's not something you've ever seen in pro sports before. And I think the biggest thing, and I know they've figured it out, is venue size. I know they need to kind of hone in on the smaller venues. I know when they went to Hopkins and when they went and played at Albany, packed, and it was an awesome atmosphere that from what you could tell from on TV and on social media. But that's the biggest thing. I don't know if the future, if they plan on finding markets for teams, and this is just a way to kind of get it started and get the word out there and get it kind of the ball rolling. But
testing to see what markets are hungry for it, I guess.
It's one of those things though. It's worked for lacrosse in the past. I mean, if you look at college with the Final Four and the kind of how they do the the neutral site with the four teams and the weekend kind of doubleheader with the championship on the Monday. Obviously, it's worked for that. That model's worked for them. So obviously, college is.
So one weekend thing?
Yeah, and it's a little bit more, people have their teams in college and it's easier to get behind, but at the same time with, all the top players in the world playing, if you can find the right cities and find the right venues, I think it can work. And like I said, down the line somewhere, they might be looking to put teams in certain cities, which, is entirely plausible. But for the time being, it's interesting, and I'm not going to complain. I get to travel to different cities every weekend if I'm playing and enjoy that. So it's cool to be able to go to those places that don't normally have lacrosse, and they're places like San Jose and LA and the West Coast places. So it's an interesting model, and like you said, it can be tricky if there's people that don't have a city to get behind a team. But at the same time, like I said, Paul's not dumb. He knows what he's doing, and he's obviously got a master plan in mind, so it'll be interesting to see where the league goes in the future.
Just no more chirping in the cameras.
Well, you know what? To be fair, there's cameras literally everywhere, as you can tell. Like anytime you're I think they follow you to the bathroom, to be honest. It's, when you look at, there's cameras in the locker room, cameras on the bus, cameras in the hotel, cameras, and that's what's made them successful so far, is the content that they've been pumping out and having guys on the camera and those personalities. So it's sometimes what my problem was is just it seems a little bit forced sometimes, and that they're doing it for the camera. But again, like I said, when there's cameras on you basically 24/7, it's got to be tough. So I can't really talk until I'm there.
Now, comparing the PLL and seeing what they've done and now looking at the NLL and what they're doing, do you think it's kind of forcing their hand a little bit, or should more than it is?
I think, if you look at the day and age that we're living in, social media is king, and that's something that, you got to hop on board with. And again, I'll use the C word, you got to pump it out. And you look at a guy, the RJ with the PLL and what he does, and the fan base that he has. I think he's got more followers on social media than any player in the NLL does. And personality, man. And it really does. It does. And good on him. He's awesome at what he does. He's the best and one of the best in the business. And it's a model that other leagues should definitely follow. And you see stats, they pump stats out of interactions and the percentage compared to other pro sports leagues that are up at the top.
Transparent about it, right?
So exactly. And I think you have to be in order to kind of sell your league. So like I said, they've been doing everything right so far, and it's been pretty impressive to see what they've been able to do in such a short amount of time that they've been around. So it's like I said, the future is bright, and it's exciting for that league.
Yeah, I like that they're helping build the players' brands too, right? So their social media followings are growing and growing and growing, and guys like Josh Byrne, they're able to expand and take brand deals from other people and promote broader and get free, maybe a bit of money, side cash through their own side business, promoting themselves, which is kind of nice to see. You never know, what might come from that.
Yeah, something that we did with the NLL, I remember talking to Facebook, just having kind of a conference call with them, but they were saying that fans are getting their information now from the players as opposed to the teams or from media outlets themselves, right? So these players having big followings is so important and just crucial to any sports league to keep that following up and to be pumping content out.
Absolutely. And that's, you see that with in that league, the amount of followers those guys have. They might not be the best player in the league and might not be the most skilled, but if they're good on camera and can pump out that content and get eyes on them, then that's what's going to get you those endorsement sponsorship deals. It doesn't so much matter what you can do on the floor anymore. It's more off the floor on the camera and in your Instagram stories.
What do you think about a reality TV style lacrosse show? I know when I was in Denver, they
Stripped.
Stripped. We were interviewing with basically a small TV company for Steve was talking about doing a reality TV show. Do you think something like that would be something that the fans would be into? Maybe?
It would be interesting. I don't know. You mean
following players? Yeah.
I know. Well, last year, 2 years ago, Warrior did a little, documentary series where they followed. We went to Saskatchewan one weekend. They did it, and it was just kind of like a mic'd up behind the scenes kind of thing. It was pretty cool. It was well done. It wasn't a whole lot off the floor. It was more on the floor in the arena. But I don't know if you'd get a whole lot of content, especially NLL. I'm spending most of my time either at practice, sleeping in my hotel bed, or at the bar afterwards, panning pints. So I guess that would be some decent footage you could get there. But it's an interesting concept for sure. But it's just with the NLL, with guys having full-time jobs, not living in market.
Yeah, real lives on the side.
It's literally be from Friday night to Sunday morning.
Yeah,
there's not a whole lot going on. So
I think it was more so for the guys who lived in town, right? Those rookies coming into the league was the idea, and
that'd be cool.
Yeah, you got any more lacrosse related questions for him? Or?
I might be tapped out on that front. Yeah.
We, I guess, after lacrosse, life of lacrosse does come to an end at some point. You got any ideas of what you might be interested in doing, coaching, any sort of career? I heard once you want to be a cop or something.
Yeah, it's policing or firefighting. I'm going to be the cliche lacrosse player.
Yeah.
That's the end goal. I got my degree in criminal justice at Delaware. So my dad was a police officer in the West growing up. So that was kind of always the end goal. And, being around all the guys that are firefighting now is kind of, wanted me to get into that. So we'll see. Probably sooner rather than later.
Be a coin toss.
Get my foot in the door and start and grow up and stop being Peter Pan at one point in my life. But I'm coaching. I'm coached with Tyler Pace has his Pacific Coast Lacrosse company out here, so he's we coach our fall program and have a winter box program as well. So that keeps me fairly busy in the meantime. So I'm always going to try and stay involved in lacrosse in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if coaching at a high level is something I want to do per se, but definitely at the youth level anyways. I enjoy, as corny and cheesy as it sounds, being able to give back. And I know when I was growing up, I had great coaches, but they didn't have a ton of lacrosse experience. Right. I had my dad, who was a very good lacrosse player, and obviously he helped to be there. But especially now in this area, there's so many good players that are coaching, and it's great for the kids to be able to kind of get that guidance from such a young age. So it's nice to be able to kind of mold their minds and hand off the knowledge that I have of the game. So it's exciting, and I love coaching the kids, and it's something that I definitely like to keep doing after the fact.
That seems to be one of the things that might be a little bit difficult with expansion too, when kids do want to play lacrosse in a place like maybe Dallas. When they come into the league eventually, hopefully, they're not necessarily going to have the coaches with that box lacrosse experience, right? So you're going to need those NLL guys that live in market to be able to coach them and bring them along.
Absolutely, and you see pretty much every team in the league has some sort of a youth program with the junior tournament that they do every year, and every city that has a team has got the coaches out and doing the school programs and whatever else it is. I know when I was living in Calgary, I did the school programs for 2 or 3 years, and just going around and introducing lacrosse to kids for the first time. And I know there's kids that picked up a stick for the first time when I went to their school, and they've been playing ever since. So it's cool to kind of know that you're having that impact on people and being able to introduce them to lacrosse. And that's something, like you said, with the expansion and going into these new cities, it's just going to, box lacrosse is just going to be, continue to boom.
What do you like to do other than lacrosse?
Golf.
Golf.
I gotta golf more. It's obviously golf's one of those things where you have to play a lot to be any good at it. So I'm not great, but during the summertime, a lot of golf. Other than that,
You said you got a girlfriend. You guys probably watch a bit of Netflix.
Yeah, we do Netflix. She watches a lot of Netflix.
Trolling on Twitter. You
troll. I try and avoid it as much as I can. Sometimes I just can't take it anymore, and something needs to be said. And unfortunately, I'm the only idiot that'll pipe up and say something and stir the pot. I need to get like a burner account so I can just get my name off it. But
that hasn't happened yet.
No, unfortunately, I've no Curtis Dixon burner accounts yet.
Cool. Do you had some screenshots? No, do a little digging. So we wanted to call this segment "Ruthless Tweets" with Curtis Dixon.
Here we go. That's gonna be good.
What do you got? I'll let Colt kind of take this one over.
Where were we at? I don't even know who this guy's. Paul Chapman. Chapman. Paul Chapman was commenting about the cab service ride at YVR.
Yes, I love that you're in on this one because I hate it out here, dude.
Start me with the cab company. It's unbelievable. What a joke.
Yeah, he.
I remember the one you're talking about. It seemed to be some sort of miscommunication that he said he meant something else by it. But
he may have just tried to correct himself.
A lot of backpedaling.
A little bit of backpedaling. I don't know. This guy had a pleasant experience getting into a cab for all of us for calling out, or what did you say? A pleasant cab ride getting in. So for all of us calling out for ride sharing that are stupid and have invalid opinions. We have invalid opinions for calling for ride sharing.
Not a big reading out loud guy.
Yeah, no, not at all. I got a small font.
That Bellarmine education's paying off.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll cut that part.
All right, give us another one. What do you got?
What else we got? Is there an end topic? You got anything for us? Anything you want to see us do? We're obviously new to this. Tyson is a little bit more.
No, this is cool. I like the whole idea behind it. This is kind of where the podcast game is going right now, and kind of raw and uncut, and just kind of letting guys, be themselves. I'm sick and tired of doing interviews and podcasts where I got to be so correct and talk about lacrosse.
It seems that when you're calling into a podcast, it's difficult not to let loose and be so correct, right?
Yeah.
When you're in person, it breaks things down a little bit more, stripped, if you will.
I know I was on one a couple of stripped. I was on one a few weeks ago. I can't remember which one it was. Outside the box, it might have been them.
I think so.
And I went on like a 5-minute rant about the MLL and how much I hated it. And it was actually nice. It was a lot of weight lifted off my shoulders. Yeah, getting to get it all out there. It's just not a lot of people understand the crap that goes on.
Let's get into that a little bit.
We can get into that, yeah, for sure. So I was playing. Well, first I played in Denver. I was there 2014. I got hurt in the Worlds, separated my shoulder, so I was out for most of the season with the Outlaws. Got back playing a couple weeks before the championship, and they told me that they weren't flying me out. So whatever, that is what it is. We ended up winning the championship, and then a couple months later, found out on Twitter that I was traded to Florida for Dylan Ward. They didn't even have the decency to give me a call or shoot me a text or send me an email, let me know that I got traded. Found out via Twitter.
Jay back in the day, I remember that. It was a common thing.
I'm sure I wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
So then I took a couple of years off. I was living out in BC, and I wasn't about to fly out to Florida every weekend to play lacrosse for $200, which you probably spend more than that at the bar, so I'd be in debt. And then so I was living in Peterborough 2017, the year I was playing when we won. I was living in Peterborough and got picked up by the Lizards.
Yeah.
And so I was flying out of Toronto to New York for the games and wherever else the games were, and we had a game in Charlotte one weekend. And they told me they couldn't fly me direct to Charlotte. They needed me to lay over in New York for 4 hours each way just to save a couple $100 on their flight. So I said, I'm not doing that because I'm already driving an hour and a half to the airport. And then I'm not going to fly to New York, sit in the airport for 4 hours, fly to Charlotte, fly back to New York, sit in the airport for 4 hours, and fly home. So that was my official retirement from the MLL. That was the last time I played or talked to anybody, and that's obviously left a sour taste in my mouth. It's just, the way that league was ran. They pinched pennies a little bit, and it was unfortunate, but it was what it was, and that's why I'm thankful that the PLL formed and gave guys another opportunity to play in a league that's legitimate and treats their players well.
So the PLL just came in and left the MLL in their dust. Yeah, it was in terms of the branding and the media production and stuff. What the MLL was doing was fucked. I don't know. I don't want.
I'm gonna try out for the MLL. I'm gonna get in there and get some money.
I don't really want to shit on anything, but it just looked like a joke. If you compared them side by side, it was like, what are you guys even doing? Why are you still operating?
I don't know how they are, to be honest. I can't see them operating much longer. I've heard rumblings of teams backing out and sponsors backing out, and I can't see that league being afloat for much longer. So
I think overall for the sport of lacrosse, it would probably be a good thing to limit things to 2 leagues, because I think that fans, they're going to get confused coming into lacrosse, right? Yeah. Like MSL, WLA, NLL, PLL, MLL, whatever. It's just there's so much to keep up with, and if you've got the PLL, which is your summer ball and field, and you've got the NLL, which you watch in the winter, I think it just simplifies everything for the fans of the game.
I agree.
And players, really.
Yeah.
So what's the option then? MLL folds and they merge with the PLL, or do 6 teams worth of players, they're out of jobs, and hopefully that they take some jobs in the PLL?
Well, yeah, I think you have to hope that the PLL continues to grow. They get some home bases. They continue to do things the way that they've been doing it, and the MLL does fold. You're right, and then the NLL, continues on their trajectory as well, and then maybe some sort of partnership forms, even if it's a loose one, but I think that's probably the best bet. And then a WLA MSL thing becomes more of a developmental league where the pros aren't even playing in that.
Yeah,
that's just my take on it.
It's a good take.
It's not a bad take.
I got your endorsement. That's
okay. I'm going to give this tweet thing another go. If not, the segment's dead forever.
He's been reading it over in his mind for the last 5 minutes.
I practiced it. Okay, this was actually my favorite one that I read yesterday.
Oh, God. It's going to be good.
sucks to be those guys that won the Grey Cup last night. Can't imagine how bad their hangover is at their day job. Curtis Dixon replied with, imagine making fun of someone for making $100K a year to play a sport when you've paid to play your sport your entire life. That's a pretty good chirp.
It's, you know, the CFL gets so much slack, and I got buddies that play obviously for the Stampeders, being in Calgary, and I know a lot of guys that have played in the league, and those guys. But you know what? You can't knock those guys' athleticism and football ability. I will knock the CFL rules and how kind of Mickey Mouse the league makes football look.
Right.
That's my biggest problem with the CFL is just make it like the NFL.
Yeah.
And it would be so much more legitimate. And I mean, like I said, all those it's basically like the AHL of football. It's where all the guys that can't make the NFL go play in the CFL, and it's still a ton of talent.
Yeah.
Those guys are phenomenal athletes. They're all, you know, pretty much all guys that played, you know, college ball down in the States, aside from, you know, the Canadian guys that are sprinkled in there. But, you know, people just love to shit on the CFL. And like I said, I got buddies that play and have played. So I like to kind of stand up for them and fight for their right.
Yeah. One other guy chirped in, Connor M. Saltberg, imagining having a 5-month season and making $100K. You chime back in, the horror.
Yeah,
the horror.
Sounds awful. Ugh.
Yeah, we got anything else? I think
that's all you could dig up onto my Twitter was 2 tweets.
Okay, well,
He's struggling with the reading of the tweets.
So let's cut this one short. Next time, I think Tyson will be doing the reading, but
I'll make sure I put out some more content for you guys to use via Twitter.
We'll be watching all season. We'll have you on.
I'll make sure I'll tag your handle in
what would be your
tweets.
Favorite one? You know, if you had to dig back,
I don't even know. I know I had a favorite back in 2014.
You got Crowley good on
the, I remember because it was during the Worlds. It was during the Worlds, and it was when we beat the Iroquois, and some kid tweeted at me telling me I was the ugliest kid in the tournament. Just chirping me. And I had like 7 people retweeting, like just howling, laughing. And that one, I know guys screenshotted it and texted it to me. That was one that's always stuck with me. So that guy knows. He got me to my core on that one. That's a tough one that I've never bounced back from. So that was.
We'll have to dig that one up.
Yeah. I don't know if it got. I think I don't know if it was that one, but I know there was one kid that ended up going to the Hill, and Brody, I think, gave him some shit because he was tweeting.
He tweeted it.
No, the kid. Yeah. So he was young at the time.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. But it was,
imagine coming up through the ranks and going out with like one of the best players in the game.
Well, this was back in 2014. I don't know how old the kid was then, but
even still.
It was, there's a funny story behind it. I think he ended up, I don't know if it was that tweet, if it was that kid or not, but it was, that one sticks out to me. That was a funny one. That was a good chirp at me.
You got any more in your reading there?
Yeah. I've read it 6 times now.
Nice.
The one from Kyle Hartzell. If you pay for followers and people comment on your posts, you're a loser. You're a loser. Is doing giveaways and making people follow you and tag people in the comments the same thing?
Yes.
I mean, that's what we're doing here at Strip, but like we said, we have no followers.
Yeah, you guys are you're a startup. You gotta
we're a startup.
You guys gotta get cheap followers somehow.
Yeah.
I'll shut you guys out for free. I won't charge you anything, but
there we go.
I don't know. I speak my mind, and if something bothers me, I say it. So
man, I fight for it all the time. I say like personality in the game is what is required for this thing to take off, and the more guys that are not afraid to let it kind of fly, the better this thing's gonna do. So
I mean, unfortunately, it hasn't given me followers.
Oh no,
tens of thousands, anyways, that the guys that do the giveaways get. But
right, yeah,
that's okay. Mine are loyal.
Is your Instagram game hot?
No,
you're just
my
mostly
Instagram
Twitter.
Game stinks. I post once every few months.
Once a week, like Logan Schuss recommended.
Or he's got his once every 6 months, so he posts a workout. For the one time every 6 months that he does work out.
Yeah.
We'll get it up there.
I was here, I swear. Just checking in.
He's the best I've ever won. He had posted it's like just chugging around with some weighted vest on. Flying around in the weight room. Just making people think that he does that on a daily basis. It always gives me a good chuckle.
Yeah,
Logan, I love you.
Wait for that first podcast. We rip on him first. Wait a little.
I think that's the first topic.
He's self-aware. That's the best way to go about it.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, guys that like that, you can't really make fun of them because, you know, they're aware and he's still very good at what he does. So, you know, you look at another guy, Dane Dobie, one of the best lacrosse players in the world.
What was his reaction like hearing from a teammate? Because I was standing beside Biz when he called him out on the beer gut thing.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm walking back with Biz in the kind of hallway. And he goes, yeah, look at him. He's got a beer gut. I was like, that was the MVP last year. And then I think he opens the scoring too.
Yeah, he did. We had 3 in the first.
So did Dobe say anything about that? Or
Dobes doesn't give a shit.
He brushes it off.
He doesn't care. He is who he is. Dane's the most, I don't care about your opinion person on planet Earth. He's one of my best friends in the world. I love the guy to death, and he does his thing. He's not ashamed of who he is and how he does it, and that's just what makes him him, and he's a beauty. And
you ever get him in the gym with you?
Dane?
Yeah.
No, he's never stepped foot in a gym in his life.
Still wins MVP.
He still wins MVP, and you know that's not true. Usually, I think like a month before the season, he'll go and grind it out because
pulls the Logan checks in.
You know, we do in previous seasons. We'll do fitness testing before the season, and there's a weigh-in.
Yep.
And I know if he weighs in a little too much, Coach Kurt will give him shit. So that's his biggest concern for the whole for 12 months. He worries about that weigh-in. That just eats at his mind all year. So that's the one thing that he's he works out for. That's his biggest thing.
He's just a prolific goal scorer, right?
He's
not moving too fast, and he's
going from the bench to the crease on a breakaway.
Yeah,
he's the fastest person on planet Earth. It makes 0 sense. I don't know how he does it. Everyone asks me if we have like a slingshot sitting in the bench that we just fire him out on, and he's wearing those wheelie shoes that the kids have, and but he's the best at what he does, and you know, he
seems to be getting better as the years go on too. Like it's so interesting in the NLL, guys get better with age, right?
Yeah,
not like the NHL where guys start to burn out, but you're seeing Dobie just take his form now.
For somehow goes entering his prime right now, and you know, seeing the level that he's playing at, and knowing the beating that guy's. If I complain about taking a beating, that guy is tenfold. He looks like he's been held together with shoestring and bubble gum. His knees are all taped. Basically, is what he's the point that he's at. But you know, he goes on a weekly basis and just takes a shit kicking and never stops. And he's like I said, he's one of my best friends in the world, and just seeing how far he's come and what he's been able to do the last couple of years and elevate his game has been pretty cool. And he single-handedly carried us to that championship last year.
Let's close on this note. Your outlook on this season. Who is going to be the biggest threat and getting in your way of winning another championship?
There's a lot of good teams in the league. Hate to sound cliche, but obviously you look at Sask. They got Dickson and Cornwall back. They missed those 2 last year, and they're going to be coming back, you know, with a vengeance, looking for revenge. And our whole Western division is going to be tough. You know, 2, maybe 3 playoff spots in that division. So, you know, San Diego is going to be hungry after we put them out last year. Colorado, again, they're always good. They're always there at the end of the year fighting for a playoff spot and giving you a run for your money. So, and obviously you look at a team like Georgia, Mike Poulin, playing with a lot of confidence right now, coming off a Mann Cup and a World Championship, and he's playing well, obviously letting in 2 goals or whatever it was last week. So the usual suspects, you know, those guys. Toronto obviously lost last week, but they'll be good, having, you know, Dan Dawson in their lineup now. So it's going to be a tight race at the top. There's going to be a lot of good teams battling for, you know, not a lot of playoff positioning. So it's going to be a fun ride.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Well, cool. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it, and thank you for driving down from
beautiful Port Coquitlam. Yes.
Beautiful Port Coquitlam.
I don't know how can we follow this up now. Like, Logan was good, but we got Dixon. Like, I don't. Would you just
hope to just get better?
Retired now?
I'm trying to think of who's around here that you could pick up.
Yeah, who do you got for us? He recommended Robert.
That's what we did.
Churchy's boring. Dud.
That's what we did.
We'll get him on, but we'll get him on with somebody else.
I'm trying to think.
That's what we do.
Bones would be a good podcast. He's got some. I'm sure he's got some good stories. He's engaged. He's looking
to retire.
He's engaged now. He's probably too grown up.
But somebody in the league, we have a hub here. We have a hub here, right? So we're hoping to.
We're trying to get the teams and have equal representation, right?
We'd like to get Westberg, obviously. They're coming to town soon.
He's okay. Yeah, if he's in town, I was saying he's down in San Diego, but Berger would be good.
Wardo would be good once he's here.
Yeah, he would be good.
You have to get somebody with Wardo. I don't want just a fucking goalie on this podcast.
Wardo's not a typical goalie. He's
he's a
super weird dude. He's fairly normal, unlike most of them.
He's the only goalie.
Get Delbs on here. No, Delbs.
He'd be a good soundbite.
He'll speak his mind. He'd be good. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about it and get back to you guys.
We'll wait for your
some feelers
ruthless tweets on that. Cool.
Yeah, keep checking.
Like I said, I'll tag you guys in all my offside controversial tweets from now on, so you can screenshot them easier.
Thanks for listening to the Strip Podcast. Catch a new episode every Wednesday. We're giving away prizes every week. Follow along with our social channels at Lacrosse Flash.